Kia ora, whānau. Welcome to the Guna Hub. I'm Amit. This is Neb. This is our aftershow of the game between the Arsenal and Tottenham, the North London derby. We're online today. Before we begin, could I please ask you to hit like and subscribe to our channel, and thank you all for viewing our video. So, brother, how are you feeling after that game? We were up twice. Didn't last for long, both leads. If I'm being honest, it wasn't really the performance we were after. But what do you think? How are you feeling? How are you going?
Nothing. You keep continuing with your thoughts. You're doing well.
Nah, but I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed. If anything, I'm a little bit angry um, at that performance. I expected, at home, the way we were going, for us to be more dominant than we were. We were in patches, we started the game really, really strong, I feel. And then we got the goal, and after that we kind of just went quiet, and they scored straight after, like within 5 minutes. And then second half, we were forced into making that Rice change. I think I agreed with the Vieira one. Felt like he was getting bullied a little bit. And then but because we lost Rice, I think we lost a lot of our shape and our strength in midfield. And
Yeah.
they kind of overran us in that second half. They were the better team. You have to be honest. But in saying that, we did score again. That goal their equalizer, you have to put it down to Jorginho, so experienced. Like he was just dwindling on the ball. It's disappointing. It can happen to a footballer. I know he didn't mean to do it, but it's cost us 2 points.
Mm. Yes, I mean, pretty dejected,
Yeah,
pretty frustrated, and angry. I mean, there's a lot to unpack in this game. It wasn't a good performance, no. I don't think it was. I think there was maybe only a couple of moments where we looked like ourselves. Otherwise, it felt like the occasion maybe got to us. Maybe there's too much pressure that we were applying on ourselves. The crowd didn't really seem like they were up to it, and no fault on the crowd, because when you have players that get performances like that, it's very hard to get up for it. And then individual errors mixed with credit to Tottenham. They had a game plan, a look-alike, and they stayed calm. And in the end, they got the better result, and we gave up 2 points quite easily.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, let's go from the start. The lineups.
yeah.
What are
So
your thoughts on the
what?
lineups?
Yeah, what did you think? Like, I mean, we discussed this before the game. First of all was the big decision on goalkeeper. Um, I think you had to, like, before we kind of were debating, whether you bring Ramsdale back, but we said that he's been cold. He wasn't like playing. He hadn't played for the last two games, and then just
Yeah,
bring him in cold to like a big game wasn't going
yeah,
to be smart. So I agreed with that Raya decision to start him. I just feel like after this performance, he's kind of like opened the door to Ramsdale to come back into the starting lineup.
yeah.
I
I mean, I
felt like,
disagree. I'm not too happy with Raya starting. It's a North London derby. We all know
but
form goes out
didn't
the
we
window.
talk about him starting?
I know, but I mean, like, form goes out the window, and it's a game where it's so intense, and you could tell like David Raya absolutely was not expecting it. He cracked under pressure. His kicking was terrible. He
Yeah,
was
he had an awful
constantly,
game.
yeah, he was constantly under pressure. You could say he could have done a lot better on that first goal. He pretty much palmed it back into the path of Tottenham players just so they could recycle the ball and come again, and that's how the goal happened.
Well,
Um,
I mean, he made that amazing save like
yeah, he
literally
did. I
a
mean,
couple of
that
minutes
was an
before.
incredible save, but that's about all he done in the whole game. That's positive that we could talk about.
Hmm.
And then the big call for me was Jesus on the wing.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that was the main decision. That was a big surprise, right?
this
Like pushing him
didn't make
out.
any sense to me. I get it, Martinelli's out, fair enough. Our secondary option Trossard out, and I get it. He's forced to play Nketiah and Jesus both, but to me, who's our best number nine? Even though we don't have someone who as dominant as like Haaland or Lewandowski or anything on that caliber, but who's our best number nine in the middle? It's hands down Jesus, right? So not only are we missing a left wing or one of our most potent left wings, we're also taking Jesus and our best number nine and shifting it onto the left wing. So we're losing not only in one position, we're losing two positions
Yeah,
where we can get the best outcome. Why he didn't just play Nketiah on the left if he had to play them both is beyond me. And as well, Vieira, I did not call for Vieira to start this game. I felt like he could have played. I really wanted Jorginho to start. I know he made the error, but I was really calling for him to start in this game because it's intense. And Vieira was lacking the whole game. For me, from what I was watching, he was lacking on the press the whole game. He was
mm.
always two steps behind the guy he had to press, and he allowed Tottenham to receive their ball in the middle.
Yeah. You kind of let them get out, right? Like you had
Mm.
Odegaard pressing, like high pressing. You had Jesus and Nketiah like busting a gut, and
Exactly.
then
Well, all
Rice.
of them were pressing. And then, there's one guy that always seems to get on the ball and be able to turn just because Vieira's, a couple of steps behind him, not pressing his man the way we needed him to close up the gap. So, I mean, yeah, but, in saying that also, the players that were on the pitch, they should have been able to put away the game. We just talked about Jesus being our best number nine. And when he's in the middle, he makes everybody else play better. He was used on the left. Okay, I get it. You can fight for a case that maybe Jesus and Zini, both coming from City, they both have a close relationship. Some of his best performances, Jesus for City, were on the wing. So maybe you can utilize him up there. But when it came down to it, his he was through on goal, no one in his way, and he blasted way somewhere. I don't know where it went.
Yeah,
And
that was just lacking composure, right? Like that one, it should have been 2-0. I think if it goes 2-0, Tottenham are struggling. Like, their heads go down, and then it would have been anything. Like, it could have been 3 or 4.
if Jesus puts that away, it changes the game completely.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's what I mean. There's so much to unpack because it's not only the lineup; it's
yeah. And then,
individual
like,
performances it takes.
the other good thing you raise is about Nketiah starting, through the middle, especially.
Yeah,
Um, in a game like this. Like, I did say I think Arteta's going to start him, and before in our preview show, but that's not what I would have done. Like, I feel like if we knew Trossard was out for this game, obviously we knew about Martinelli. If Trossard was also out, I would have either started Havertz up front and pushed Gabriel out wide, or given Reece a shot. He's been good. Reece or Smith Rowe out on the wing,
and
and
yeah, and
and put
I agree. I agree. I was just going to come to that point. Is like we were saying, Jesus is our best number nine. Start him in the
mm,
middle.
yeah.
Give Reece a go on the left wing. He's a hell in boy. He knows the derby. He's the last couple of games he's looked really sharp. He's looked like he's the only one that can pick up the ball and run at players.
And he was
Um,
sharp in this game too. When he came on, he was good. He's running at people. He didn't look out of place in a big game. Um, so why aren't we trusting him? Why aren't we giving him an opportunity when it presents itself? Why are we
it,
giving it to someone who has gotten 5 starts this year and hasn't really proved himself?
it's baffling to me. And what's more baffling is that Arteta's given him a new contract and said, "We want you here. We want
He
you to
doesn't
get
play
back to
him.
the squad." And you don't play him when he's third choice at the moment,
Yeah,
and I mean, we thought he was third choice to
he's
play
like fourth
on the
choice
wing,
now.
but now he's, obviously not even third choice. So what was the point of signing him to a new contract? Is it because we want to sell him next year? But I mean, I would have given Reece the start. Um, yeah,
Mm.
it baffles me, Arteta and his choices, and I think he got the lineup wrong today.
Yeah, a
And I
couple of
think,
things there definitely. I mean, Raya one debatable again. Like before the game, I would, he is one of those guys that can put his hands up. Two clean sheets. But after the game, definitely, I feel like yeah, we're gonna say it's the wrong. In hindsight, we're gonna say it's the wrong decision. But you
yeah,
know, that's a difficult one. But in
I mean,
Nketiah,
well, here's a better question: did Arteta get it wrong?
well, I mean, if you, yeah, yeah, I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
get the result. It's a home game. To be completely honest, Tottenham were largely the better team.
Hmm.
Ange has got his boys playing in a way that caused us problems. Obviously, Arteta has played in their hands by getting some of the decisions wrong,
Hmm.
and then injuries haven't helped us. Like losing Rice halftime. I
I
think
know.
that's a big game changer.
It's yeah,
Um,
absolutely terrible.
yeah.
I mean, Rice struggled as well. Not to say that he had a brilliant game, but obviously after
No.
he left, he's someone that you can leave alone in the midfield and he can handle himself.
Yeah.
And he's put on Havertz and Jorginho at halftime, and Jorginho's been left by himself because Havertz has been asked to push up.
Yeah.
And it's obviously their press was too much. Madison's press on their goal was too much for Jorginho, and it's weird. It's not something we expect from Jorginho because it's not something he usually does, right? Usually he's
Nah.
one of the quickest people to receive and pass the ball again.
Yeah, it was uncharacteristic like that moment. But then again, like you're most vulnerable as soon as you score. And I think he wanted to sort of kill the game a little bit. That's why you see him like he looks at I think Ben White and then turns back, and that's when he gets caught out. Like normally he would just play it and get it back. I think he just thought, okay, maybe I can kill a little bit of time, and then he just got outsmarted by Madison. Madison was like, to be fair play to him, he's backed up his shit talk
Yeah,
on the field. He's got two
both
assists.
both him and Son, man, they backed
Yeah,
it up. So,
they backed it up, and that's on us now. Like we need to go there when we play them, and put this right, like because this one hurts a little bit.
but can I just say that Jorginho thing?
Mhm.
It wasn't even like he was trying to slow the game down. It didn't look like it. It just looked like a stupid error. With
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's so uncharacteristic, like
it
and
looked
it
like
happens.
finally, finally, it
Yeah,
looked like we were cutting these mistakes out of our game. After the international break with the performances we've had, but I
yeah.
mean, Jorginho comes on and just does a blinder because I mean, he looks at Saliba, looks away, looks
Looks at
at
White, comes
looks at
back.
looks at Gabriel, who's also there. He has two options
Yeah,
out onto his left. Saliba's a little bit behind him, but more towards the left. Looks at Saliba again, sees Madison rushing, and I don't know if he's trying to nutmeg him or what he's trying to do, but he sort of pulls, touches the ball, and yeah, I mean it's terrible. It's an
it's
individual,
awful. Yeah, and like I
and
saw,
again, yeah, you go.
nah, like I know that everyone's like backed him up and stuff. I think he knows too. Like he knew straight away, um, that he's
Yeah,
messed up.
yeah.
You can't like it can happen in football, right? Like it's
Mm,
just one of those ones. But I feel like after that moment though, like there's really no other bright spark after that. Like, it
mm.
was I feel like we kind of got I mean, there was moments where we had corners like, like we had like three or four corners in a row,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it didn't look like we were gonna score at all. We didn't really trouble them, didn't really take any meaningful shots.
I mean, just
Uh,
just looking at goals in that point is one was a deflected goal and the other was a penalty. What
yeah.
other? I mean, the other open play chances we had was Jesus who missed it completely, and
Mm.
that one where Nketiah got put through, and it was a bit of a tight angle, but man, he should have rolled it between the keeper's legs. Everyone knows that in an angle like that, the keeper's going to spread himself out. So,
Yeah.
roll it on the floor between them. So,
Yeah.
well, what did you
Um,
think about the way we set up? Let's forget about the starting lineup.
mm,
It's the way we set up, the way we were trying to play. And I mean, for me, it just looked all wrong. It looked like, and I think it started with Odegaard. I mean, he looked possessed when he was pressing, but I think the occasion got to him more than anyone because it looked like we were trying to rush everything
yeah.
from forward to
Yeah.
back. We kept possession, and it just looked like our only aim was to just attack, attack, attack. And again,
Mm.
it baffles me because I don't get it because this is a high pressure game. It's a derby. We've just come off two incredible performances where we've looked so controlled and we've had good possession and kept control of the game, and we've just come in and thrown it away. But I mean, what did you make of the way we played or how we set up?
Yeah, I feel like you're right in a way. Odegaard was always pretty like he was sort of doing Nketiah's job in moments.
Hmm.
He was way out of the midfield area. We've seen him do that in other games, but we talked about Tottenham um being able to keep position better this year. Um, they move the ball quite well. They can deal with the high press. And they showed that in this game. There was moments that they beat our press, and then it was just literally Rice or second half Jorginho versus their whole midfield and their attacking force. So I think we kind of, although we hate Tottenham, but you kind of have to respect the opposition sometimes. You can't be so naive. And it
Hmm.
was kind of glimpses of the old Arsenal performances where we would just go all out attack, forget about defending, and just leave ourselves exposed, and we get hit on the counter and things like that. So I
Yeah.
think yeah, you're right. Like Arteta got it wrong in that aspect. You know, Madison is obviously someone we should have shut down. I
Hmm.
feel like he had the freedom to do what he wanted to do. And if he has that freedom, then he will then unleashing someone like
He's dangerous, man. He's
he
such a
can unleash someone like Son, and
yeah.
if you cut out the supply, I think that's when Son is kind of ineffective.
Yeah.
He gets those chances, man. He's not going to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, a couple of things that bothered me as well is Saka and his celebration doing that sort of medicine
yeah,
celebration.
silly, like silly stuff,
We,
immature.
I mean, that just adds to yeah, exactly, immature. It didn't look like we were professional. It didn't look like we had the maturity about us. Saka doing that celebration twice on a deflected goal and a penalty in a game where we're not playing well, in a game where Madison has turned you and left you in the dust.
Yeah,
I
exactly. I
mean,
mean
let's not
that's
let's not
that's kind of
forget
like
Saka was the one who got turned and Madison ran through and passed it to Son.
yeah, it's sort of like karma, right? Like he goes and does the celebration, and then 5 minutes later, he gets absolutely sent to ice to get ice cream.
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, he is our star boy. We love him. And I guess it's a learning thing for him too.
yeah,
You can't get involved in all that shit. You just have to
yeah,
focus on the job. I think
yeah.
that's I think the reason why this Arsenal team's kind of failed in this game is because we've dwelled on all this other stuff. The comments of
Mm,
Madison, Son, all this shit
yeah.
instead of just going out there smashing
Playing our
them on the
game, right?
pitch. Yeah, and that's it, and
Yes.
just getting off.
We didn't play our game, and it didn't look like we were trying to play our game. We weren't zipping the passes around. We weren't
Nah.
playing. We weren't spreading ourselves out and playing back all the way to the keeper and then playing out again. It was always just trying to get into their half and attack, and we failed because they pressed really well.
Mm.
And one thing that really bothered me as well is how many of their players had a yellow card on them.
Yeah,
How
like
how did we not
especially
attack their yellow carded? I mean, listen. So Basuma and Sa, both midfield players who are very aggressive, both had yellow cards, and not one time did we test him to
and
get
their
a
left back. I mean, like
and
he
man,
he was yellow carded first.
Boogie. He
Yeah,
was. I mean, when that happened, when he got the yellow card, I was like, okay, Saka's gonna rip him to shreds, and he's gonna be the first player sent off, and it's all gonna go down. But Saka just like turned the switch off, and he just stopped attacking, and I just couldn't understand it. Even after going into the tunnel at halftime, having a team talk, how did no one? I mean, forget Arteta, maybe he has a lot of things on his mind, but how does no one else in the team come up to say Saka and say, we're going to give you the ball and you just attack that left back and make sure he fouls you so he can get a red.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I don't understand that either. If anything, Saka stopped running at him. He sort of, I mean, like second half, he sort of looked tired. Um, and like we'll get to the changes. I feel like, he probably should have been brought off like 10, 15 minutes earlier, man. He didn't
Yeah, I
look
agree.
sharp. Yeah. And
So
like I think the change actually happened on what, like the 93rd minute.
yeah,
So Smith Rowe didn't really have a chance to have any impact on the game. Like
yeah. I mean,
he had like
well,
7 minutes.
let's talk subs now, right? So you start off with Smith Rowe.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I just again it baffles me. He was brought on the 93rd minute. Um, and there's only like 6 minutes, 7 minutes left in this game. How is someone supposed to come in and settle in and make an impact
yeah,
in a time where it's already 2-2? What are you expecting him to do?
yeah. I
Um,
it, it
did any of the subs look good to you? I mean, I don't agree with a lot of the changes, but
other than Reese, um, no, like I even Havertz. Yeah, I agree that Vieira probably was the right change at halftime to sub
yeah,
him. I think we did gain a little bit of that physical edge with Havertz in there, but he didn't
yeah.
really provide anything special.
I thought Havertz actually was quite decent. He looks like
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
improving, very, very minuscule, but he looks like he's improving a little bit. And
hmm,
he, like you said, he got stuck into the game, but it was very disjointed because every time he got on the ball, he had no one to pass to. And he's
yeah,
someone where you want in the box, right? He's a tall guy.
but like if you think about it this way, we've got Havertz, right? Like Madison was up for sale in the summer,
Hmm.
you know. Who would you rather have?
I think 99% of people will give you the medicine answer. I mean, that's a discussion for next time, I reckon. But yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. I mean, it's comparing, right? Havertz and medicine.
he's
Who's
done nothing. I mean, like, yeah, you're right. I had nothing wrong with his performance. I felt like he was a better fit for this game compared to Vieira in
how
the
it started,
second.
man.
Yeah, and I feel like if Rice was there, we would have looked even more stronger. It's
Yeah,
just, it's just because him, Jorginho, and Odegaard all sort of,
just
it's not as
better.
strong and not as
Mm,
secure as having Rice or Partey in there. So,
mm,
like, he was good, but in what we bought him for, spent 65 million. He's had 7 games, not an assist, not a goal.
mm.
To be critical, this is Arsenal Football Club, bro. Like, um, you know, yeah, we're gonna back him. We're gonna keep backing him until, as long as Arteta plays him, we're gonna back him on the pitch. But there's gonna be a moment where we'll be like, why did we spend all this money for him?
I mean, yeah,
And
I've backed him as well, just as you have. But
yeah,
my patience is running thin with this guy now because, and it's not his fault, of course. But I mean, what are they telling him to go do on the pitch? What are they asking him to do? What are they training like? Because Arteta seems to praise him and says that he's incredible in training. He does all of the stuff, and he does a lot of work off the ball. I've seen that, but I mean, patience is running down
yeah, I
quickly
mean,
now. This guy, 7 games in, I haven't seen anything where I can say, yeah, he's going to be really good for us in the second half of the season.
no, I mean, we brought him in. You're hoping that you'll have another scoring midfielder to ease the load on Odegaard. I
Hmm.
feel like if anything, Odegaard's been carrying us more this year.
Yes, yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's uh, difficult for me to understand why we bought Havertz when there was Madison available, there was McAllister available, there was Szoboszlai. who was available, and all three of these guys have been doing bits for their teams now, for
Mm,
Liverpool, for Tottenham, and here we have someone, who's a bit of a project or project restart, where we're
yeah.
trying to revive his career. But I mean, moving from Havertz, he's not the scapegoat here today.
No, no, he's not. It's still, I mean, like all overall, yeah, like we've already talked about, wasn't the best Arsenal performance.
And why we took off Jesus, I just couldn't understand as well. Maybe it's a fitness thing.
I think that
Um,
was a fitness thing. I didn't. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't have taken him off,
yeah,
but I think it was a fitness thing. And then, yeah, just really not agreeing with Smith Rowe coming on so late. I
yeah,
would have brought him on at the 80-minute mark. I think
yeah,
Saka was done. He looked
yeah. I mean,
done.
after Saka's second goal, after the penalty, he absolutely did nothing, and he looked leggy, and
Mm.
that boy hasn't had a break.
Yeah, I mean,
For
it's not his fault. We want him fresh, but Arteta's not giving him a break, man. Like he just has to keep playing.
it's not just Arteta; it's the international games.
Yeah,
When he's not playing for Arsenal, he's playing for England, and it's been like 2 years of him playing constantly without a break.
yeah. And you just don't
So
want him. You don't want him injured. You don't want him not firing at all cylinders
yeah, I
either.
mean,
So
Arteta's lineup for me was wrong. His subs, now we've talked about it, is he got it wrong today, completely wrong.
mm.
And
Mm.
it's unlike him because the last year he's been getting it right. I mean, the odd decision will get wrong, but completely off with the subs today.
Yeah, a
Completely
little
off.
bit of naivety.
Mm,
Didn't really respect, I guess, Tottenham and Ange in the way they've been playing. Um,
mm,
and I guess it's a good wake up call. But you know what's positive though, is we didn't
what?
lose.
Oh, okay. It feels like it. It feels like we lost.
Yeah, no, it does feel like we lost. And the thing is, because it's a home game, and we've been out ahead twice, had a chance to get like, really good chances to go like a couple of goals up, which we didn't take. So it does feel like a loss. But if you put it all into perspective, it's not the end of the world, not the worst thing that could have happened. I think the way Tottenham's playing, they're going to take some points off other big teams. Um, so a point might actually look like a good result too.
Yeah, I mean, the only way we'll know is if the next game we go and smash the other team to bits, or we start winning the next two games. That's the
Mm.
only way we recover from this. But otherwise, I think it's still going to feel like it's at home against Tottenham, and we haven't had bad results there recently. So
Mm. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good summary, I guess. We're
mm,
we're we've got to move on somehow. It is always hard to move on when you don't get a win in the North London derby.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, but
and
credit to Tottenham, they played well. They stayed calm. Their players looked calm. The coach was calm, and they just waited for their opportunities, and they got it, and they put them away, and that was the difference
yeah,
because Son put away his chance. Jesus didn't.
that's it. That's big games for you, mate. Big
Yeah, I
games.
mean, yeah, I guess so. And one thing that really, before we end it, has really bothered me was Madison, who was coming to pick our players up after they had fouled us. Every time our player was on the floor, he ran over and picked our players up, and no one did anything about it. And and that was happening from minute one. And to me, that was
Yeah,
a good sort of foreshadowing about how we're not up for it today,
yeah.
and how we lacking in all areas. Because
You,
I mean, don't get it twisted. If we still had Granit
Xhaka.
Xhaka, and that happened to him or to one of our players, he would have been up there and in their faces and be like, he wouldn't let anybody do that. So
Yeah. No,
it's these little things that have all added up.
that's a really good point. Like I thought of that too. Like you know, from the off, like they were smashing us. Like they had fouled Saka so many times. They had
Mhm.
fouled Odegaard. They had fouled Vieira. I think spent most of the first half on the floor.
Yeah.
Um, so if Xhaka was there, like they wouldn't do that. It would probably be the
Mm.
other way.
Yeah.
So we kind of miss someone like that.
Mm.
Yeah, and I didn't think it would be so hard to replace like someone like Xhaka, but
Neither.
looks like it in these big games, eh?
And it looks like it's going to take us years to replace him at this rate.
Anyway, yeah,
Onwards.
on and onwards and upwards, hopefully.
Hopefully, take care of our
Thanks,
cup of
guys. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll reconvene for that one. Hopefully, we're feeling a little bit better.
Mm.
But yeah, thank you to everyone watching. Please do like and subscribe, and come on, you guys.
Let's go.